Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
this is Tom.
I suppose I'll turn off my camera. Um, yeah, so good afternoon. Thanks for putting this together. I'm sorry we didn't figure out about the share versus um, invite thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, uh, we wanted that you are going to present from your laptop, right?
Yeah, I can share my screen in a little bit,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to review my email
Yeah.
just to make sure that I was showing you the right thing. So as I recall, I was able to build from the branch and
Yeah.
run uDig, but I had several regressions that were based on updating to Eclipse 4.
Okay.
Um, there seemed to only be, there was a bunch of little details, but there seemed to be two themes. One theme was that the interaction with the toolbar, the,
Yeah.
with the map editor, seemed to be broken. The actions weren't being added to the toolbar anymore.
Okay.
And the other one seemed to be the EMF model.
Yeah.
The viewers didn't seem to keep in sync with the actual like
Okay.
model of maps and layers.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just my high level take on it.
Yeah.
But I'll share my screen here and
Yeah.
I'll just um, review our previous email. I just need to find our previous email. Do. Other than that, since you've done that work, we've updated the version of GeoTools used.
Okay.
Um, there wasn't very many changes. It was mostly changing dependencies and maybe about 10 class files changed.
Yeah.
But I don't think it impacts on your work at all.
No. Well, once I now, when you present to me what's going on, then next week I'm going to merge once more your branch or your master branch with my branch, and then
Okay,
go on from there and fix them. Maybe some of them
sounds
are
good.
still bugs in Eclipse 4 itself. So I can recall other
It,
people reporting problems with actions not showing up into the toolbar. So probably that's a problem of Eclipse 4 itself.
it might be, or it might be that we using a really old
Yeah,
there's a couple ways to put things in the toolbar, like
yeah,
actions and commands.
yeah,
And it could be we need to migrate
yeah,
from one to the other or something.
yeah. Yeah, I will take a look once I know what's going. When I see what's going on and can try to reproduce it myself, then I'm
Yeah,
hopefully figure out who is wrong and what's going on.
yeah. The other thing I was doing was I was also testing uDig 140 at the same time to make sure I was just reporting new problems.
Okay, yeah.
Because I found the occasional problem, but it had nothing to do with the work you did.
Okay.
Do. So I'm just going to try and share my screen. You can probably stop sharing your video. It'll save some bandwidth. And okay, so you
So,
should be able to
are
see
you
my
working
screen.
full time? Are you working full time on uDig, or is it a side project of
It's
yours?
a side project. My current employer has me working full time on GeoServer and GeoTools. So
Okay.
I'm working with related things. Okay, so here's my email that I sent to you before.
Hmm.
So I was just going to review this with you. So I did get the right version of Eclipse and EMF. Is that the latest EMF there, the 2.10.0? And
Yeah, I think that it was just that a few weeks ago there was the SR1 release of Eclipse Kepler. So probably
okay,
there's now even 210.1,
okay,
but it should be fairly perfect this way.
okay.
So,
The next point here was opened and able to show the contents of the previous workspace. This was just a test for me to make sure that the EMF, like serialization and restore, was working correctly.
mhm,
So it was one of the things I was worried that could be broken when
mhm.
updating EMF.
Mhm.
In the next three here is that I had some trouble when I was swapping between maps and selecting layers. This was what I was thinking was a change with the EMF model or events. So this is an example of things getting out of sync.
Okay.
Do, 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 do. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to keep going through this email thread. So here's my second test. So adding layers and changing styles worked when I started with a fresh workspace. Um, and then once again, I wanted to test reloading. Style editor was working, map rename works, map properties work, layer properties work. So this was me testing that a lot of the EMF functionality is functioning. And then here's the toolbar buttons. So the toolbar buttons such as zoom to extent were not being added to the application. Some menu contributions, or the menu bar contributions still worked, but they weren't added to the toolbar.
Okay.
Closing the map and opening the map had no effect. I was trying that out just to see, you know how when an editor opens, it's got some kind of callback object? Okay, and then I also created a second map just so I could swap between the two maps to see if that would have any effect. So the new map toolbar was present, but the zoom to extent one wasn't. So there's some functionality here was working and some wasn't. Adding, I was trying different things like adding layers. Okay, and then here I restarted from EMF. All the content showed up, but one of them didn't. One of the shapefile layers didn't load.
Okay.
So this looks to me like EMF's having some trouble here. Selecting this layer and hitting delete fails. So something's gone wrong with the EMF model here.
Okay. Good.
Okay. And the same issue occurred here with the other map.
Okay. Probably the same reason.
Probably the same. So as I said, there's a bunch of little details here, but it seems to be two themes. Okay. So in this one, I had deleted this 10 map layer, and it was still visible in the UI. But when I reloaded it, it was no longer there. So that made me think maybe the EMF model was updated, but it hadn't updated the screen. It hadn't updated the view.
But it silently failed. There was no exception, nothing in the logs, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. And here's just a surprise. I wasn't aware we could drag map editors out.
Okay, yeah.
It's just a new thing with Luna. And keyboard and navigation, that's like scrolling, they also didn't work. But the keyboard shortcuts did.
Okay.
So some of the keyboard shortcuts are working and some of them aren't. The reason why I'm discussing this is in uDig we define three kinds of tools. We define background tools which watch the cursor and like update the position that the cursor is on the map. We have I think they're called action tools, which are kind of fire and forget tools, and we register those in the toolbar and in the map, the map bar. And I think we also do some of those for responding to key presses. So I don't know. We'll have a look when I open up the application. So here was my summary that the EMF transition seems to be a bit troubled. So I correctly remembered the trouble that I ran into with testing. So what would you like me to do next? You did find the user guide here, which is what I was using to test.
Yes, that's what. First of all, I've never ever worked with any software that deals with geo
Yeah.
tools or something like that. So I'm completely coming from a complete Eclipse only background where I worked on the IDE stuff and RCP applications. So all this geo information stuff is very new to me. So
No, I understand completely. This walkthrough is intended for people like you that want to, well, that are starting with no GIS background, because we intend uDig to be used as an SDK for people to add maps to their own RCP application. But I agree, all the terminology like map and layer and so on is new to you.
mhm.
Okay. Uh, I suppose what I need to do next is make sure I'm up to date. Now I need to switch over to the Luna branch, don't I? Okay,
Yes.
I'm on the Luna branch. I do have one thing that's interesting here. The Luna target.
Yeah.
I changed the sequence number from 31 to 32, and Frank was telling me how to do that. Apparently, changing the sequence number causes it to reload
Mhm.
in the Eclipse IDE. Okay, I'll bring up the modeling one. Now I'm going to have a little bit of fun watching this fail to build. When I was last using this, um, Frank was helping me at Phosphor G.
Okay.
So what do we have? We've got a few build failures.
A few is good. So it looks like it didn't.
I think what I'll do is I'll go out to the command line and I'll make sure it's downloaded all its dependencies. I'm never good at remembering this stuff. I always um, the directions here. Did you have any problems getting this kind of step to work? You still there? Hello. Hi, Tom. Are you still there? I hear you type.
Do you hear me now once more?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
dropped off for a few seconds, so something
Okay.
didn't
So it's
work.
downloaded all the libs. So I'm actually gonna turn off build automatically there. I'm gonna hunt down the libs and make sure just that part builds. Apparently it's gonna build all. Okay. So you see to like find everything here?
So it looks like the problem is that that you are
It
something
looks,
is, I guess something is wrong with the target because activator is having problems. Well,
and it can't find Apache, Batik, and all these other things.
yeah,
So I need to remember how Frank told me to do the target platform. So here's target Indigo, but I think we made a target for Luna.
you go to get the target platform. You go to uh,
Okay, it looks like Luna's already
you have
there.
it already in your.
Yeah, I guess I must. So it doesn't seem to be under, it's just under Luna. Okay, so it found it. Okay, so it looks like it just wasn't a very consistent naming convention there. One has one had
Yeah.
uDig target. Okay, so if I open this up with the right editor,
And yeah, if you now click set as a target platform,
yeah, I'll try it. We'll now download half the internet. I'm
yeah,
not, I'm not very good at figuring out how the Tycho and target platforms and the Eclipse IDE here all work together.
yeah, Tycho is strictly a build tool. It is not used to
Yeah,
set up your target platform, so it's only used for the headless build.
yeah. Well, but Tycho reads the target platform.
Yeah, Tycho once more uses a target platform, yes,
Yeah.
but it's not used to build the target platform for your
Yeah.
IDE.
Okay. Well, now we get to hang out here for a bit.
Do you have a downloaded version where you can show me the stuff, even if it works in the old version, in your current release version?
Sure.
While we're waiting for that,
Yeah.
so that I can see how it should really look like.
I think I have a copy of the 2.0 here as well.
Yeah.
So let me start with how it should look. Okay, this one's kind of been restored from previous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quit it for right now, and I'm going to delete the uDig workspace,
Yeah.
and that's the same as starting from like a fresh
Yeah.
install. Okay, so here's what it looks like when we first start
Yeah.
out. I'm going to click on this tutorials link, and I was just going to do that to kind of bring up what I would expect us to test.
Yeah.
I'm afraid the tutorial link isn't very small. So the very easy one here is this quick start, and it provides a link to the some sample data here that we can download.
Yeah. That's what I used as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of follow these instructions with you. But basically, we've launched the application. Oh, I'll take this over, and when we can close the welcome view. I might just increase my screen resolution for a bit, but what's your frame rate like right now?
The frame rate, I don't see, do I see the frame rate? But it's quite
No.
smooth, so everything is fine at the
So if
moment.
I make it bigger, is that going to give you a heart attack?
No, works good. It's fine.
Okay. Okay. So I'm skipping over that. I'm just going to go right to this step of adding a layer. But before I do, you can see we've got a couple things along the top of the screen.
Yeah.
And these are kind of the global toolbar actions,
Yeah.
like adding a new layer, adding a
Yeah.
new map.
Yeah.
And over here, we've got the list of currently opened projects.
Yeah.
Each project can contain a number of maps. And over here, we've got the layers list, and this shows the layers for the currently opened map.
Yeah. Okay.
Each layer kind of works like a transparency. So each layer represents a different data set, and you stack them all together to get your final map.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go add layer here. And I'm going to choose a couple layers just because I'm saving time. Here's my data 1.3. Going to choose countries and this TIFF. So we've got two kinds of data. The shapefile represents vector data. So that's kind of smooth like SVG graphics. And raster data represents kind of imagery.
Okay.
Like JPEG or PNG. But for geospatial data, sometimes it doesn't represent a picture. Sometimes it represents like a height, which is why they call it raster data.
Okay.
So here we are with these two. And we should get a map. Now what's happened here is you can see we've got the picture, but we can't see the countries. And that's because these two things form we're drawing the raster over top of the countries. So if I just move this up, we can now see both data sets.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And one thing I missed out on here is the moment we opened a map, you can see all these toolbar buttons along the top.
And those are missing in Eclipse.
Those are missing. So if I hit this button here, zoom to area of interest, it zooms me out to the whole world.
Okay.
And I can hit the zoom button to zoom in.
Yeah.
Or I can zoom in with a little box.
Yeah.
These are my two little tools I can use. So this lets me pan, and this one here lets me zoom.
Okay.
Okay. I've got some more tools here, like I could click info and ask a question like, what is that? And it'll tell me it's Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is working. The right-hand side of the palette is working.
Yeah.
It's only the top toolbar that doesn't show up.
Only the top toolbars.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, for some reason my thing is locked up. I don't really know why. Okay, but that's the basic functionality we're looking at. So doing things like adding and removing layers and moving them up and down and deleting them, that was what was kind of harming us. The other thing is, I'm just going to force quit this. Oh, no, it managed to quit. So I'm just going to start it again. And what I'm doing now is I'm making sure that that map we were working on was saved correctly. So it should have the same layers, and it should be in the same part of the world. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in so we can do a slightly better test. Maybe I'll add a few more layers. Okay, I've got a couple more layers here. You can drag and drop these things around too. So now we've got a pretty ugly looking map. So I'll just close that down and restart. And I just want to make sure we get the same map again when we load it up. You still there, Tom? I don't know if you're still there. You're quiet. Oh, I can see you. I can't hear you.
Now I'm back online. So I was
Okay.
once more dropped off. At home,
Okay.
my wireless connection is not very stable.
Okay. So all that's happened is I've added a few more layers here,
Yeah,
and I've shut down the application and loaded it
yeah,
again to make sure
yeah,
that they come back.
yeah.
So I'll just do this now with you watching. Okay. So you can see it's brought us back to the same location, and it's got the
Yeah,
same content over here.
yeah,
What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this layer.
yeah,
Um, I can do that with the edit menu here, delete.
yeah,
And yeah, I suppose the other thing we can do that's kind of fun is we can make a new map. So we've got two maps, and we can swap between them.
yeah.
Now, it hasn't done the best job of showing me the world here. I'm going to zoom out. So
Yeah.
now we've got a map that's a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay. I suppose other easy things we could do is we can like rename.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now, as we swap between these two editors, this
Yeah.
palette over here changes and the
Yeah.
toolbars change.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can't see it very much because they're both similar data. As we
Yeah.
go through vector data or raster data, we can see some differences over in the
Yeah.
palette.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good way to test if the EMF events are working.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so that's kind of all I'm looking for.
Okay.
I think an advanced functionality is if we go to a vector data set, we can list all the contents.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't think I'm really worried about that. Here we
Okay.
can zoom to Afghanistan.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's
I
try
think.
that, let's try that with the newer one.
Yeah. Is it already downloaded? Is it ready?
Well, I've got this uDig 2 alpha, but I don't know
Okay.
when I made it.
Okay.
It looks like it was made on August 13th, so it
Yeah.
doesn't really look new enough.
Yeah.
Is that new enough? It might be.
Yeah.
We'll try it.
The release of Eclipse 4 was before that, so let's see. But
Okay. We can always check the About menu to see what version it's using. It's certainly taking some time here.
okay. Yeah, we now see that the top menu is not there. The toolbar menu
Ah,
is
you're
missing,
right.
right?
Yeah. And if I open up two of them, if I swap between them, it's still not there. If I go between raster and vector, that part's working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think anything else fun. But it was interesting. It loaded up the workspace we had previously, so that was a good sign. Okay, so the toolbar there, and also if I like deleted a layer, I was having problems with that. So
Okay.
if I delete this layer, I think that's when I got an exception. Okay, so that went away.
Hmm.
Let's quit and restart it and see if it really went away.
Yeah.
That's interesting. The tooltip came up before the application.
Okay.
Well, it went away. So my email has that example of when I had some trouble.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the first thing that I'm going to concentrate on is to get the toolbar at the top back.
Yeah.
And maybe we can find reproducible steps to see how we can make the deletion of a layer fail.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's the next thing. Well, the first thing I look at is the toolbar at the top.
Yeah, for sure.
And this works well. This is a feature of Eclipse 4. So in Eclipse 4, an editor can be moved anywhere.
Yeah.
So you can even move the editor to the bottom tab, for example. Even there you can move it. So an editor doesn't have to show up in the editor area anymore.
I have a question for you, and I think this might be the answer.
Yeah.
Where does the toolbar go when the editor is out on its own here? Does it go in this little window, or is it supposed to go in the main window?
I'm not sure. I guess it should go there, but I'm not sure for that.
Me either.
So,
what I'd like to do next is go to the source code and show you where the toolbar
is created.
Is created. Yeah. Now it's going to take me a little while to hunt that down, but at least you've seen the problem I'm talking about. So I had some problems with my target platform here.
Yeah, I see it.
That's a shame. So there's one class called Toolbar Manager, which is the one I'm interested in. Yeah, Tool Manager.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't write this, but I did try and clean it up, and so I wrote lots of Java docs, which may or may not help you. But it goes through an extension point where we define our different kinds of tools.
Yes.
We've got modal tools and tool actions. The tool actions are the ones that try to go into that try to be used as an action and try to go in the menu bar or the toolbar.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to show you just now, but the tool actions were working in the menu bar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can see it's gone through the whole extension point, and it's put all the modal ones in a list, and it's put all the action ones. Okay. And I'm just trying to figure out where it contributes them to the toolbar. I think I'm going to just do a search here. So it's a toolbar, add action tool, no, create tool action. So iAction is the thing that we add to the toolbar, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so this code might be doing something. So I might come back and see who calls that. Create modal tool toolbar. Does this look familiar? Sub toolbar manager?
That could be interesting, yes.
Yeah, so I would put a breakpoint in here and see if this is called. But see, it's getting a toolbar manager, and it's having a party adding tools to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that this code's probably where we're having some trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think...
Yep. I'm sorry, Tommy, you seem to have cut off again.
Hello again. Can everybody help me? Hear me?
Yes. Hello, Frank.
Hi, Jody. Good to hear you, and good to see you in action.
Have you been here long?
Sorry for my delay.
No, I'm the one delayed. It's a Canadian holiday. It's hard to get anything done.
Okay. Hi, Tom. I see you are grabbing the code through the editor actions. I just made a note to to the chat.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, we had Eclipse 3, and there were special editor actions. Right now, the editor concept is gone, I guess. And
Okay.
maybe that's a gap to get the extension points registered correctly.
Frank, I'm just going to get you to repeat that because Tom's back. Hi, Tom.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
So I'm just going to review, Frank. Have you been here a long time?
Sorry, for about 5 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes.
So we went through uDig 140, and I showed adding a layer and the topics that I covered in my email testing.
That's fine.
And then we fired up the Eclipse 4-based one, and we could see that the toolbar actions weren't there. I wasn't able to reproduce the Eclipse modeling problems with like deleting a layer and getting the layer list out of sync.
Have you updated your environment since we tested the last time?
Yeah, and so Tom, Frank has done a little bit of research about the toolbar stuff, and he was just telling me about it, so I'm going to ask him to start again.
Yeah, let me try again. I remember that in Eclipse 3, there was a special editor concept where you can register or register actions specialist for editors. And now in E4, everything isn't an editor anymore, so everything is a view or a part or something like that. And maybe the old extension points defined in plugin XML files are not traded or read out anymore. Maybe that's a bridge problem of the, how can I say, there's a compatibility layer. Yeah, the compatibility layer. And maybe that's the gap because we re-implemented the editor actions, so I remember that, within the toolbar manager. And wrapped these editor actions. Yeah. And we defined an own extension point within uDig to register actions like that. So maybe the bridge between the old E3 actions and the new E4 actions and the toolbar manager in between is the gap.
Yeah, that makes sense, and it's actually good because that's part of why we made our own extension point, was so we could do migrations like this. We actually migrated from using the toolbar to using the palette at one point, Tom. So we've had this kind of change happen to us before.
Okay.
Okay.
So Frank, you're right that the low level Eclipse 4 itself has no knowledge anymore about editors or views or something like that. That's why you can move editors. There's still editors in the 3.x or in the compat layer sense. You can move them anywhere in your IDE or in your RCP application. They don't anymore belong to the main editor area. They can be moved anywhere.
Yeah, that's the behavior of the editor itself. That's right. Yes. And but in the past we have editor action interfaces, I guess. And we wrap these editor actions, like I remember, as an uDig whatever action. I have no idea how it's called. And maybe this bridge within uDig is broken at the moment.
Yeah.
I can bring up my IDE again. We were just looking at it, Frank.
Yeah. Let me have a look at it.
I'll start up my IDE and share my screen again. But it sounds like Tom's got something to work on, which was the main point of having this meeting. And Tom's had a chance to see me use uDig and what functionality we're looking at.
Great. Have you had the chance to install, to compare these two versions between 1.2 and the current state? So maybe it's much easier for Tom to find out what's the difference.
Yeah, we compared 1.40 and the current state.
Well, 1.0. 1.40? Okay.
Sorry, we compared uDig 1.40 and the current state.
The current, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll just share my screen briefly in case you guys had any other sudden insights.
just have your face in front of me.
So did the sharing work?
Yes,
Yeah.
now I see it.
Okay. So we had three kinds of tools. Active tools, and those were the kind of fire and forget ones, and these are the ones we hook up to the menu bar and the toolbar. We had modal tools, and those are the ones that go into the palette, and they're working. And we also had background tools, and those are and I think those are working. Those are the ones that like update the position of the screen cursor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I did a search in here for toolbar. And here was our two methods, create modal toolbar and create action toolbar. So it was these methods that were having a little bit of trouble getting added. Yeah. And here's a deprecated method, contribute to toolbar. So it's basically anything that touches toolbar in this class is probably suspect. And we probably just need to go through with a debugger and watch what it's doing.
Mm.
Yeah, well, the most important thing for me is that I now know about this tool manager class, so that I know where to start my search. So I guess I'm already happy with this information.
So please stop just a second, guys. You see this method, get action bars. Maybe in this case, the map editor part isn't a map part, or cannot be wrapped as a map part. You know what I mean? This application gives internal get active editor. I can't see any lines right there. 2, 3 lines from the current selection below.
Yeah, these ones.
There's an get active editor, and maybe this one doesn't work anymore and gets a null editor.
But we'll find out.
Yeah.
I can't tell until we have it up in a debugger, but it's very likely that the fix will be in this little batch of methods here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So I will do some research next week.
Yeah.
And get back to the mailing list with information on what I found out and how I advise us to proceed to get the rest of the stuff running. So just some information from my side. Well, I've got employed by a company in Austria who use your tool, and because their tool is built on Eclipse 4, they wanted uDig to run on Eclipse 4. Yeah. That's my job.
So is that BioClips or something like that?
It's BioClips.
Yeah, okay. So I have a bit of context.
Yeah.
Great to hear that they finance this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They asked the Eclipse Foundation, and the Eclipse Foundation said to them that, well, you have one guy in Tyrol sitting next to you who is fairly good, very seasoned Eclipse developer. I've been one of the guys who wrote Eclipse 4. So it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to them for employing you and to you for your help. I have some time to back you up this week in terms of testing.
Yeah.
And we'll just see how this week goes. So let's communicate early and often on the devel list there.
Okay.
Yeah. I will have a look at the mailing list too, so if I can help, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Thanks. Great.
Thanks, guys.
Perfect.
For taking the time to tell me or show me what's wrong, and well, I keep you posted. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Mr. Jody. Bye-bye.
Frank, I might pester you later on the email list, Frank, about target platforms and so on.
Yeah, I've seen that you're still running with a unresolvable platform.
I swapped over to the Luna branch and apparently didn't succeed.
Okay, and but actually the latest Luna build on Travis, I sent you the list. Let me see.
It's okay. I'm going to have to run off to a family function, and it's very late for you, so we can do this later in the week.
Okay.
Okay. Have a good night, and thanks you both for attending.
Have a nice vacation. Hopefully you have one.
Cheers.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.